Peace. Peace, peace, peace. I also like to get people to subscribe to my YouTube page, Noble. It's my name, KHARYIBENA, Hakeem, HAKIM, Goodman Bay. I try to get a lot of more to subscribe to my YouTube page, Noble. And I just try to cipher people there and then try to get you to come privately because I teach privately. But yes, Noble, it's my name, Kari, IBNA, Hakeem Goodman Bay on YouTube. But yeah, we're gonna teach a quick lesson, man. We're gonna talk about we're gonna go a little bit over the 100 facts, amazing facts about the Negro with complete proof from J.A. Rogers. And then we're gonna go over a little bit of Behold the Pale Horse, chapter 4, when it's talking about the secret treaty of Verona. And I'm gonna play the film on my YouTube page. So those that's on my IG page, on my temple and school page, which is burningbushtabernacle.ts on Instagram, the last piece of this demonstration will be the film, and I'm gonna play it on YouTube. So gratitude to everyone, man. Like I said, I'm an organization and we operate tax exempt from the government, which is our right. I don't mind asking for a contribution of your choice to Cash App $KG Bay. Anyone that gives a donation, I'm going to give you literature. I've gathered and compiled over 20 books, and I have a business page, and we offer books. But when people donate, when I'm live, that's the opportunity to also get something from your donation. Like, you just don't have to listen to me. I give literature for you can build your library. So just imagine every time a person jump on here on my IG page or my YouTube page, and you give $10 weekly or whatever, or say how many times you jump on here. Every time you jump on there, you're going to get literature that's triple, 3 times worth, or 300 times worth the donation. And if we're here to learn and build, it's worth a value. And a workman is due his or her hire. There's nothing wrong with that. You know, there's nothing wrong with that. And if we were miseducated, and when people say something hidden, nothing is hidden under the sun. It never was a time when man was not. Don't let nobody get you caught up with they got some secret this or some secret law. It's nothing secret to a scholar and an educator. Understand that. And if you're a scholar and an educator, I'm not here to guide your understanding. I'm here to give you something to compare to and challenge you to use both sides of your brain. That's what I'm here to do. Because I deal with more people in real life that don't look like me. And I always say that. I said, I do this on Instagram, but I am a real person in real life. And I do have responsibilities and I have positions. And it's a bigger mission, which should be everybody's mission if you're melanated and if you're from a community and you care. And I have a bigger mission. There's no one that look like us in a position to make decisions to bring something down to the people. All this stuff more talk about this, the law, this, to that, but you have no dog in a fight. You know? Yeah, I got you. So everybody, man, get your papers and your pencils. And like I said, if you like the teachings, it's Cash App $KG Bay. Anything that you donate from the heart is going to be worth it. I guarantee you. So let's get started. I always like to give gratitude. I'm going to do my Moorish American prayer. Allah, Father of the universe, Father of love, truth, peace, freedom, justice. Allah is my guide, my protector, and my salvation, by night and by day, through his holy prophet, Noble Drew Ali, Shalom Alakim, Ayah Ash'ayah, peace, 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 peace. Assalamu alaikum. First, I'm going to just go over a couple chapters in these books. When I tell Moors, man, there's no way our brothers that call themselves educated or have some degree in African American studies don't know about none of this history that we've been speaking about. That's old. I don't care if you like Marcus Garvey, Noble Ali, W.E.B. Du Bois. There's no way. And so when we be talking about who putting us back, I don't care about a person motive if they was Bhld. I get all that. I get all that, but I'm talking about the good that's done. And for us that's scholars, our main objective should be changing this educational system. I don't want nothing free. You need to bring our chair and our table to any meeting and teach the truth and be able to teach this to our kids and be able to have someone that's not only just versed in one thing, but versed on all levels of academia and can be on that level to correct the teachings. It's just what it is. Look at when I show y'all, and I ask people, a lot of people, I forget the phrase. I was going over what is Sundoku, if I'm not mistaken, Sundoku. And it's a phrase where people just be collecting books with no intention to read them. And they say, I got that. And then they don't even know how to apply it. This stuff it's like mathematics. When I tell people, you're dealing with me, you need to get rid of everything except mathematics. And then you must understand applied mathematics. Nothing is good if you don't know how to apply it. I mean, I hope y'all seeing signs and symbols when I talk about the eagle and a double eagle in masonry and things, when you don't understand conquest and reconquest. And when I say the copy copied you and locked all the stuff in museums, it's a particular people that's going to have these things. It's a group of people that's going to be able to educate the world, not just to a group of people that look like him, but in academia. When I tell people, what's wrong with having a map and a guide? I don't get us. What's wrong? And then the Moors, they talk all this stuff about this and that and the other. And I say, well, what do you want your kids to aspire to? And let me pull your child aside and see what they understand about history, about law, about civics, about being upright, about being a noble. You see? And so we got to correct this pseudo academia, this Eurocentric and this Negrocentric propaganda, because that's all it is. Because how can all our educators that call themselves smart, doctor this, PhD this, all these particular brothers that say they have degrees, haven't spoke on none of the stuff that I'm speaking on? And I spoke on this in academia at Grand Canyon University. I don't have any fake degrees. Not saying my degrees make me better than anyone else, but I proved what I wanted to prove in academia. I spoke just like this as a Moor. They may not have liked my candor. I graduated with honors and proved this in academia, which people say is so hard. It's not hard if that's what you aspiring to be. I'm not telling you what to do, but other people spend their time and their resources on other things. I chose to spend my time on academia, understanding who I am, finding myself in all law, history, religion, scientifically, pulling myself out, being able to speak as a scholar and go places as a scholar and a Moor, but a Moor first. And so these things I talk about, I can't operate on a belief system. I don't gravitate to a religion. That's not how I operate. I'm a scientist. I'm a mathematician. I'm always in the laboratory with my test tube and my beakers. I must be a walking contradiction if I'm doing science all the time. Understand the level where I'm coming from. So this picture is a black champion of Germany and a white one. You see the proof, number 53, Saint Maurice, celestial saint of Germany, wearing the German eagle on his head. And then you see Hitler centuries later, also with the German eagle, the golden jeweled mask of Saint Maurice in the treasure of the Abbey of Saint Maurice in Switzerland. Note the Negro aspect of the mask. Look at this stuff. So don't let nobody come at you and try to set trip and try to get you to infight. Don't let nobody do that. We're dealing with scholarship and scholarship only. And if you're a scholar, you have to agree with peer-reviewed scholarly research. That's why when people be saying they scholars, it's the way that a scholar write. You must know how to do peer-reviewed scholarly research. You must know how to write in a particular format. And if you're a scholar, usually it's APA format. You must understand annotated bibliography, and you must understand giving credit to the sources. You must always come with the sources. Always. Always. As a scholar, as an educator. And then if you're a scholar, what form of scholarship do you come from? That's just like the same thing when we say Socrates and Plato and Aristotle. They say they're the greatest thinkers of the world, but where college did they graduate from? Where academia were they under? Where did they study at? They ain't gonna tell you where they went. Understand what I'm saying? So I don't want to stay all into this. I hope you guys got it. If you don't, we have all this stuff available for way cheaper prices on mypdfbooks.com, where you can download it and print it. You know? So I want to get into just a couple of topics, and we're going to jump right into it. Thanks for the donations. And if you like the teachers, it's nothing wrong. Cash App, $KGB. I'm going to continue to say that. The Grinaldi, a Negro race, lived in Europe as late as 12,000 years ago. To complete, Grinaldi skeletons are in the Museum of Monaco near Monte Carlo. Abundant traces of their culture have been unearthed in southern and central Europe. Elma, E-L-A-M, or Elm, a mighty Negro civilization of Persia, flourished about 2900 BC and is perhaps older than Egypt or Ethiopia. Ethiopia really is Abyssinia. One of its later Negro kings, Kudur Kantua, K-U-D-U-R, Kantua, or Naktua, or Atua, depending on if they pronunciate the N, N-A-K-U-N-T-A, conquered Chaldea and Babylon and brought back to his capital, Susa, rich treasures, and among which was the famous statue of the goddess Nana, N-A-N-A. Later, it became the capital of Cyrus, the Great and Darius. Susa is the Suzanne, or the Suzanne of the Bible, where Esther and Jews sought the favor of King Ahasuerus of Persia and Ethiopia. Remember that? I told you, a scholar going to be able to trace you and everything. I don't care if they say this and that. We're not going to deal with the Flavia Josephus or the Piso or a Caesar's Messiah. We're going to talk about it all. If we're going to talk about what they're not going to tell the truth about, when it's a annihilation of whitewashing, I'm telling you. When I take y'all to the Russian archives and the libraries, and I show y'all Vladimir Ivanhouse, the Russian icons, and all this stuff that all the scholars know, and they study in the Royal Archives where I study at, and the Philosophical Research Society, everything I'm saying, you can stamp it. Guaranteed. Cheops, C-H-E-O-P-S, a Negro, built the Great Pyramid, one of the 7 wonders of the ancient world. It's 451 feet high, has 2,500,000 blocks of granite, each 2.5 tons, covers 13 acres, took 100,000 men 30 years to build, and was complete in 3730 BC. There were at least 18 Ethiopian or unmixed Negro rulers of ancient Egypt, the best known of which is Pinaki, P-I-A-N-K-H-I. Leaving his country in Central Africa, Pinaki conquered all Egypt to the mouth of the Nile in 750 BC. There was the Ganges, the G-A-N-E-S, the sacred river of India, is named after the Ethiopian king of the name who conquered Asia. As far as this river, the most ancient lineage in the world is that of the Ethiopian royal family. It is said to be older than the King George by 6013. The fourth, the Emperor Haile Selassie I, ruler of Ethiopia, traces his ancestry to King Solomon and Queen of Sheba, and beyond that to Cush, 6280 BC. Negroes lived in America thousands of years before Columbus. Central America monuments show numerous carvings of them as gods. When Columbus came to the New World, Negroes had been crossing from Africa to South America, a distance of 1,600 miles. The first white men to reach the American mainland tell of seeing Negroes. Columbus, who visited South America, said that he had heard of them there. The present Negro race of Africa perhaps did not originate there, but Asia and Oceania. So I can go on and on and on, but I want to go to some other spots. Exploration. Estevanco, a Negro from Morocco, was one of a party of four to cross the North American continent in 1536 for the first time. The journey took 9 years. In 1539, he headed an expedition that discovered Arizona and New Mexico. Estevanco's travel served to open up Southwest and the states west of Florida as far as the Pacific. Tipo Tib, a Negro trader and slave in ivory from Zinbar, East Africa, was the first civilized man to penetrate the center of Africa. He explored territory nearly as large as the United States. Stanley Wisman, Cameron, and other white explorers followed his path. He died in 1905, very rich. I'm telling you, for 2,234 years, human beings have been trying to reach the top of the world. Thousands of lives and millions of dollars were lost in the attempt. On April 6, 1909, Matthew Henson, a New York Negro, was the first of a party of 6 to do so. He is now, in that time, 1943, the only human being alive to have stood there. The first Arctic explorer was Pytheas, a Greek who perished in the attempt in 325 BC. When you talk about science and invention, Jan Ernest Matzler, a Dutch West Indian Negro, lived in Lynn, Massachusetts, invented the first machine for sewing the soles on shoes to the uppers. This invention, which was 11 years in the making, revolutionized the industry and gave shoe supremacy to the United States. It made several millionaires, one of whom left $4 million to Harvard University. Overwork and privation hastened Matzler to his grave in 1889 at the age of 37. He left a few shares of stock to a white church, which later saved it from being sold for debt. George Washington Carver of the Tuskegee Institute, one of the world's greatest architectural chemists, was awarded the Roosevelt Medal in 1939 for distinguished service in the field of science. From the peanut, he has extracted 285 products, and from the sweet potato, 118. Dr. Carver was born a slave. Thomas Edison once offered him a large salary to take charge of one of the Edison laboratories, but Carver refused in order to continue the work he had begun with Booker T. Washington at Tuskegee Institution. Jews and Ethiopians. The Mohammedans believed that Moses was a black man. Their Bible, the Quran, says so. Listen, their Bible, the Quran, says so. God told Moses to put his hand into his bosom. The Quran says that it came out what? White. The commentators declared that Moses' hand could not have been white before, and that the miracle Jehovah or Yahweh intended was making the black skin white and then turning it black again. The Septuagint, or the Greek Bible, agrees with the Quran. The Septuagint, or the Greek Bible, agrees with the Quran. The Septuagint, or the Greek Bible, agrees with the Quran. Come on, man. For my brothers and sisters that scholars that read, you know, all you can do is be like, he's true. It's the truth. Most people don't study. And they limit it. That's like if you come into my martial arts, my dojo, and I work with hands, feet, weapons. I use my brain. We're successful in all our endeavors, intelligent, nobles. And then you deal with a person that just work with their hands. They limit it. You see? The characters of the Bible are largely Negroes, if we're going to tell the truth, not on that Flavius Josephus New Testament stuff. We ain't talking about that. We're talking about what all they try to rewrite history, just like John Smith with that Book of Mormon. I'm telling you, they can. I debated this on college campus. A lot of people don't know the book of the Hebrews. A lot of people don't read scholarship. You can read things and see where a person try to implement themselves. I'm telling you, just like Eliseus Levi tell you he wasn't but a transcriber. You got to understand what a transcriber is and what a cardiographer is. When you understand these things, and then you will remove the veil of dogma. You know, Imhotep of Egypt was the real father of medicine. He lived about 2300 BC. Greece and Rome had their knowledge of medicine from him. If I show you all ancient pictures, when you see the European crossing the rivers, coming to the motherland, you know what I mean, to learn medicine, and they'll tell you the truth if I show you documents, and you don't even have to look hard. In Rome, he was worshipped as the Prince of Peace in the form of a black man. His Ethiopian portraits show him as a Negro. Imhotep was also prime minister to King Zor, as well as the foremost architect of his time. Just like when people be saying they study and they biblical scholars. And I say, you haven't even read the books that go with the Bible. Have you read the Zohar? No. Well, we can't have a conversation. Have you read the complete Book of Mormon and understand it? No. Have you read the books that they come from? So if somebody got a compilation, do you have the main sources? No. So it's a waste. Abin Ali, an African Negro, was private physician to Charles VII, King of France, 1403 to 1465. Politics, we know about politics. France has 6 colored cabinet ministers. Servano de Herdia, 1887, Senator Henry Lemery, 1915 and 1918, and 1934, Alcide Delmont, Bales Dagny, Gratian Candice, Gaston Monerville, 1937, de Hardier, as Minister of the Public Works, built some of France's finest roads. Eugene Chen, one of the most dynamic political figures of the present century and Minister of Foreign Affairs for China in 1927, was born of Chinese Negro percentage in Trinidad, West Indies in 1878. He was also secretary to Dr. Su Yat-sen, first president of China. We can go on and on with the history. Religion, the oldest and most noticed statue in the world, bears the face of a Negro. What is it? The Sphinx of Giza, which was worshipped as what? In Greek mythology, Horus. Hermesius, the sun god of light and life. It was erected about 5000 BC. The devil, which is now depicted as black, was once portrayed as white. No disrespect. When the black man dominated the planet, he painted the forces of evil white. When the whites came into power, they shifted the colors. Just like when I show you Russian icona, and when I told y'all out here it's a Russian church, I wish my empress was there working out, and I was invited there as a educator. I was doing research when I was getting my dual doctorate degree from GCU, and I noticed something in the back. A lot of the monuments are in the back, but then I noticed something about how the noses are sharper than things and the lips. And when you research things and when you understand the writing styles, you will see that was a form of drawing. Just like when you say caricatures, that was a form of drawing back then. And don't nobody have to agree with me. When you do scholarship and when you research, you will understand what I'm saying. You will understand what I'm saying. You remove all dogma when you're a scholar. And every scholar know exactly what I'm saying. It was a missionary father, Father Fernandez, a Catholic missionary who worked amongst them at this time, says they painted Christ, the best virgin, and other saints in black form, and devils as white men, white. Thus Christ and his apostles are black, and Judas white. Annas, Cephas, Pilate, Herod, and the Jews, or Jewish, white, while Michael is black and the devil white. Come on, this their history. The Bible really originated in ancient Egypt. When I can show you the Bible and pull out all the history in the Bible, and I come from the European perspective. I done this plenty times. If you don't want to believe your brother, at least you'll believe the European and the educators that tell the truth. And I teach them. The Bible originated in Egypt, where the population, according to Herodotus and Aristotle, was what? Black. This according to their pen. Here the Jews receive almost all of their early culture. Professor Breasted, leading Egyptologist, says the ripe social and moral development of mankind in the Nile Valley, which is 3,000 years older than that of Hebrews, contributed essentially to the formation of Hebrew literature. Our moral heritage, therefore, derived from a wider human past enormously older than the Hebrews. And it has come to us rather through the Hebrews than to form them. Psalms that read like those of the Bible were written by a pharaoh, Emephis the fourth, better known as Akhenaten, the heretic king. You see how when they write in history, you don't know who they talking about? All the same people. That was in BC, or more than 400 years before David was born. Akhenaten, who was the father of Tut-Akhmen, was extremely Negro in type. He's called the most remarkable of the pharaohs. Ethiopians, that is Negroes, gave the world the first idea of right and wrong, and thus laid the basis of religion and all the culture and civilizations. Rulers, November 15th, 218 BC, Hannibal, a full-blooded Negro, marched through conquered territory in Spain and France. When you talk about a king, when you talk about is Africa named after a European? No, that's an abdomen because he beat the African general. I'm telling you. And then I'll show you about so-called his brother in Italy. People be just twisting and lying, trying to get a false perspective. We're dealing with scholarship. I don't have to argue with my brother. I did this in academia. And when people did academia, I didn't go to college to get no job or nothing. I take my own chair and my table to the universities and lecture. And the pseudo academia sit on their hands. This stuff is in the universities. I study at the Royal Archives, Library of Congress, Philosophical Research Society. You have to be introduced to certain things and speak matter factual, especially when these brothers take the oath. They know what I'm talking about. There were African popes of Rome, Victor 189 to 199 AD, Milciades 311 to 312, and Saint Gallisus 496 AD. It was Melasius who led Christianity to final triumph against the Roman Empire. The celestial saint of Germany is who? Saint Maurice, a pure Negro, while in command of a Roman legion in Gaul, which is Switzerland. In 287 AD, he refused to attack the Christians when ordered to do so by Emperor Maximian Hercules, for which he was killed. His picture is in Germany. His picture is in many German cathedrals and museums, sometimes with the German eagle on his head. I showed y'all that I showed y'all that right here. No disrespect, they not original. I'm telling you. And then I show you about the Whig Party. I'll show you about all this stuff when I break down stuff. When I break down that the secret treaty of Verona and get deep with it, and I show you. When I show you the Whig Party, the Cotton Party, when somebody just talk and they don't explain, man, I break this down. And I done this right in the belly of the beast, not in front of the whole Negroes. I came out clean and pure. That's why I speak like this with a silver tongue, eloquently. You don't have to like my candor, but I bet you I can rest my case in any courtroom and it'd be no rebuttal, guaranteed. Guaranteed. But you had that. You had Hannibal with only 26,000 of his original force of 28,000 men remaining. He defeated Rome. We get deep into science. Slavery, the word Slav or the word slave was originally applied to European people. When I show y'all white cargo, when I show y'all they were white and they were slaves, when I show y'all history and rewritten history and things that they want to talk about, that ain't being racist when you talk about history, but you want to talk about American history and your misnomer Black history started when you was a slave. That's BS. And that is not academia. That's pseudo academia. That's Eurocentric and Negrocentric propaganda, period. I'll show you all the books. Tavistock Institution of Human Engineering by John Coleman. I'll show you all this stuff. This stuff is old. I lecture this. People be talking about scared. Scared of what? Negroes kill everybody I love. Please. I operate as an adept and a scholar in real life. I operate under the laws. Period. You'll never see me begging for shit. I come out and ask my people for donations. If we don't give, that's on you. The word slave was originally applied to white people. It comes from Slav, a Russian people captured by the Germans. The first slaves held in the United States were not black, but white. They were Europeans. Oh, damn, that's sticking my head. Okay. They were Europeans, mostly British, who died like flies on the slave ships across. On the voyage, 1,100 perished out of 1,500, and another time 350 out of 400. In Virginia, white servitude was for a limited period, but was sometimes extended to life. Remember I showed y'all the hidden cause, the forgotten cause of the Civil War? Research and see how much that book costs. I got all these books. I've been lecturing and teaching for years. I told everybody they was gonna make these books super freaking expensive. I told people this because they knew Negroes weren't gonna deal with the archaeology. I gathered and compiled and make a lot of these expensive books available on my pdfs.com for Moors. So it's no excuse. And if you want to learn, I have a school, Burning Bush Tabernacle Science Temple and School. We have Sunday school every Sunday. Somebody got to be able to give the history and correct the teachers and have the science and make it available for brothers and sisters that they try to make it super expensive on Amazon. Just like they done put Judah Trembles on the Rome to $900. I got that PDF available for Morris for a small value. And then I go on a college campus and I get paid for this 300 times more. And I'm not even a teacher or professor. I'm a lecturer. The students collect donations. Don't y'all know when Muhammad Ali was banned from boxing, how you think he was going on the college campuses speaking to all those Europeans, Albions? Or what auspices you think he was under? Because the Nation of Islam was under a certain auspices, under certain religious laws, the same way I am. And if you a scholar in academia, it's certain monies put up for that. A lot of Moors don't understand that when they be begging. They say, well, they need to be taught on campuses. I travel on campuses. I travel for free. I speak on college campuses, especially from when colleges they have things called the Scholars Roundtable. Like I'm alumni for 3 universities, but I don't be getting it. Moors be lying because they not in the real world. In the real world, they poor. No disrespect to nobody. White people were sold in the United States up to 1826. Just like when I told y'all that Willie Lynch is a lie. I love everybody. I love Farrakhan, all of them, but these are educated people. I know when a person have a motive, and when you have a motive of lying to the people, that Willie Lynch stuff, it ain't no letter. All that stuff been proven pseudo. The European will tell you pseudo. I'm gonna tell you a pseudo. Where the letter at? The language don't match. Nobody in first century, no writers in first century, no so-called slave writers that wrote in that time. I gave y'all all the history, wrote about that. Frederick Douglass, nobody in that time period, nobody wrote about this stuff because it's fugazi. No disrespect. Just like Roots. Not Roots, but yeah, Roots. All that stuff fakes. Alex Haley plagiarized that from a European called Harold Colander. It's a book called The African. I got all this stuff available. So who's lying to you and keeping you down? A lot of brothers been compromised. But they were sold up to 1826, 50 years after signing the Declaration of Independence. Andrew Johnson, President of the United States, was a runaway and was advertised for that in a newspaper. Between 1526 and 1859, there were 33 slave revolts in the United States. One of which was that headed by Nat Turner. And this is what I be laughing at more, is that be making up goofy shit. And I'm glad this book referenced Nat Turner. Them Negroes ain't read. I should go get the book, man. Cause this is why I be laughing, man. I know Moors don't study. No disrespect. I gotta go get it. I gotta go. So bear with me for 1 second because we building. We in school. Hold on. Yep. We got to, man. We got to. One of my notes on the other platform, he was like, man, this is the best history lesson he ever get anytime. He was like, man, everyone should give donations. But it's Cash App $KG Bay. And I give gratitude for those that donate. This how I know Moors ain't study. They'll talk all this stuff about this person was fake. No disrespect, they'll make videos and use the wrong people and all this. I said, I know you're not studying and reading. I know most brothers is internet copy and paste and Google. You ain't studying. You definitely not reading. Man, this whole book, watch this. This is how I know Moors don't study. This book is 700 pages, 668. I read every front, back and forth, maybe 300-400 times. Why? Because I love, this is my life. And this when I say I can cross-reference stuff, and I know a lot of Moors don't study nothing. I know that for a fact. If they did, they wouldn't promulgate none of the stuff that they saying. Man, they know you don't know. And that's why I said I laugh. And nobody's going to come to no real scholar a conversation on history, on real things, because if you act like you don't know and you know, you the problem. They know. I know about all this stuff. I know about how a lot of people was compromised and took money from things. We know all that. If you're a historian, I can show you all stuff when people just make stuff up. I said that's not even historical valid. It's not. I'm telling you. When people be saying Nat Turner wasn't this, I said, dude, I'll show y'all paintings. 1883, the slave uprising, Nat Turner above, outlines plans as a secret mission, a lot of stuff where people haven't read. And I said, what are you dissing? I said, it ain't nothing to diss. If you study and then you see what's going on and cross-reference history, you know Moors ain't studying. But back to the teaching. It's just what it is. Let me see where we were at. Okay, and the 30 slave. Okay, I gave that Indian name from the, okay. The Seminoles or runaways or mixed Indian and Negro descents of Florida fought 3 wars with the United States to preserve their freedom. In 1670, Virginia passed a law forbidding Negroes from buying white people. This was 51 years after the Negro have arrived in chains. The same law was repeated in 1748. Free Negroes bought white people in such numbers in Louisiana that the state made a similar law in 1818. Research this. White children were kidnapped in the British Isles. Remember? Because the real cause and the forgotten cause of the Civil War was what? If you had a tittle of Negro blood in you, you was what? Come on, man. You all know what I'm telling you is the real deal. Prince Abi el-Rahman, a highly educated grandson of Emperor of Timbuktu, was captured in battle and sold into slavery in America. Years later, a white doctor who had traveled in his land saw him at Natchez, Mississippi. Rahman was freed in 1829. $4,000 was paid for the liberation of his children. In 1860, there were 487,000 free Negroes in the United States, some of whom owned slaves. C.D. Wilson estimated that there were 6,230 Negro slaveholders. The tax return of Charleston, SC for 1860 showed 132 Negro slaveholders with 390 slaves. The Negro slaveholder, like the white ones, fought to keep their chattel in the Civil War. The Brazilian Emancipation Proclamation Proclamation of 1888 freed all the slaves on the day of promulgation. The British Emancipation of 1834, not until 4 years later, while the American Emancipation Proclamation of 1863, when issued, freed those slaves who Abraham Lincoln had no power to free and permitted the continued enslavement of those whom he had the power to free. In Arabia and parts of North Africa, white persons, mostly women, are still held as slaves. And when these Negroes be talking about this transatlantic slave trade, they not going to talk about that Arab slave trade. No disrespect, because they love that bull crap that they be coming with. And them Negroes definitely ain't read the Bukhari Hadith when it names all Muhammad black slaves. No disrespect to no one. So I just wanted to make some facts miscellaneous. The most ancient name for so-called black people are Nhesus, Nhesu, or Nubian, Ethiopian, and more from ancient Egypt. And watch this, and Negro or Nagrita. But watch me correct this, from West Africa. All the above are native words. Negro is probably the oldest, as the Negritos are the oldest known branch of the human race. So they pronounce it wrong. Just like Niger. They try to change and call you a nigger. No, we're going to correct all that because we grew up by the water. Everything that was pertaining to waters, I'm going to correct this teaching. And then J.A. Rogers is going to talk about it in here. Watch. Because Negro comes from what? The river Niger, not no river nigger. Niger found its way into Latin. And since the people from that region were dark-skinned, Nigrum came to mean black. Just like when you talk about when little young European boy was in a spelling bee and they asked him to spell niggas. They ain't say niggas like we think. And he said, put it in a sentence. What's the origin of the word? He spelled it the proper way. Understand what I'm saying? Black and color, like white, are, on the other hand, European words, Ethiopian and more, were properly used to describe the so-called blacks until 1500. That's why when you get into 1599 Geneva Bible, they call you a Moor. And then what type of Moor they call you based on a you, it'll call you a black or Moor, this, other, but you a Moor, not a damn black or black. Come on, this shit too simple. And then I get even deeper. I get into Vladimir Dale's 1828 dictionary explaining what an ARAP is. Not an A-R-A-P, I mean B, but an A-R-A-P. And he gonna agree with me. So that should be destroyed off the dribble. Shakespeare used Negro only once and used it synonymously with what? More. Africa comes from the ancient Egyptian, Africa. When I show y'all, damn, yep, I got my map. I'm finna show y'all. Africa or Africa in the land of Kafir. Now watch this. This is why I be laughing at Moors, man. They just be holding up stuff. And I say, how can you teach somebody and you don't know what you tell them? What's that right there? The flush of God, the Africa. You see those symbols, the signs and symbols? A scientist, a teacher going to teach all the signs and symbols of the primordial man and lay it out plain for you and teach multiple ways. We ain't here trying to trick nobody or convince nobody of nothing. I'm a scientist. I deal with mathematics. I deal with reason. And I'm dealing with applied mathematics. People will just tell you anything. That's religious dogma. Understand what I'm saying? All this is you. If you don't understand that, then I don't know who you are studying under. No disrespect. I don't even have time to explain that. All right, let's get with some other stuff. I want to make one more fact and we'll go to the last part. Ancient civilizations. Persia was originally dominated by a Negro people known as the Elamites, E-L-A-M-I-T-E-S. Del-Lafi, a Frenchman, the principal excavator of Susa, the ancient Negro capital, says, and I quote, "I shall attempt to show to what distant antiquity remounts the establishment of the Negroes upon the left bank of the Tigris and the construction of the Susanna monarchy." Come on, man. Towards 2300 BC, the plans of the Tigris and Anzian Suzika were ruled by a dynasty of Negro kings. I don't want to stay all in that. You got explorers. Watch this. Jews and Ethiopians. Listen, the Quran reads, "And he, Moses, drew forth his hand out of his bosom, and behold, it appeared white unto the spectators." Yep. "And put thy right hand under thy left arm, it shall come forth white." That's in your Al-Quran. That's why when Moors, they'll say, well, I don't got to read this because Noble Ali got the Moors Quran. The Moors Quran is a compilation. The Moors Quran is a compilation of what? Holy books. So how you guys going to get with the compilation and don't read with the sources? You only read compilations. You must understand the source so you can know what came down the river. When you diss holy books, you can't be a scholar. You can't be a sheik. You limited. And that means you under a religion. That's just like a Christian only dealing with something. That's orthodox. I don't do nothing orthodox. And see, and it's no disrespect to no one. There is a tradition that Moses was a very swarthy man. Remember when I keep saying swarthy, the words you got to understand is disproof. Swarthy Pie, Black Pete of the Netherlands, so-called Santa's helper, Santa Claus. Man, this stuff is too simple. We dissing ourselves looking stupid. I'm not here to convince nobody or nothing. I'm just telling you, I'll tell you who I am. You got the right to say who you are and who you not. I'm not finna here to disagree with you with that. I ain't finna tell everybody you from here, you from here. If you say you a slave and your parents this and come on this slave, I don't go with that. It makes me no different. You got the right of that. Declaration of Human Rights, Article 15. You have a right of a nationality and a right to change it. No one will be arbitrarily denied of a nationality and a right to change it. The claim of child replaces the birth certificate. I ain't arguing with nobody who they are, but I'm damn sure gonna tell you who I am without a damn doubt. So why I'm gonna waste my time with somebody that don't understand this? What that shows is somebody that's take the time out their day to be here and join along. It shows the mental health issues that they have. Sir T.W. Arnold says, according to Mohammedan traditions, Moses was a black man. The Preaching of Islam, Westminster, 1896. The Voltke, when I be talking about books, and the modern Bible says that Moses' hand was leprous as snow, didn't it? But the Septica Bible, which is the Greek Bible, which is the older translating, dating about 150 BC, accords to with the Quran. It goes or synonymous with the Quran. The Septica says that Moses' hand became as snow, and that when he placed it in his bosom, the second time, it would restore to the complexion of the other flesh. Tell me I'm lying. Tell me I'm lying. and then research it in your biblical scriptures in Exodus. That's the clearest possible inference that the miracle lay in the turning a black skin white and then changing it to black again. I can go on similar subjects of this. The argument so often made that Miriam's objection to Moses, the Ethiopian wife, was one of color. That's wrong. There was no color prejudice then. Besides, the Jews at that time were also colored. Miriam's objection must have been a national or tribal one, the same as exists among Negroes on the West African coast now, and among the Jews themselves in India. They don't cross tribes. Understand this. Even the European writer Tactica says, many again say that they, the Jews, were a race of Ethiopian origin. That's in book 5, chapter 2. F. Ratzer says the entire Semitic and Hamitic population of Africa, excuse me, was a mulatto character, which extends to the Semites outside of Africa. That's in History of Mankind, volume 2, page 246. See, we give references, man. Medicine. Remember, Gerald Massey says that Imhotep, the child Christ, remained a staringly bejeweled blackamoor as the typical healer in Rome. Jesus, which is never with a J in the Hebrew dialect, Yahshua, the divine healer, does not retain the black complexion of Imhotep in the canonical Gospels, but he does in the Church of Rome when presented as a little black bambino. Research this. A jewel image of the child Christ as a blackamoor is sacredly preserved at the headquarters of Franciscan order, and true to its typical character as a symbolic likeness of Isa, the healer. The little black figure is taken out in state with its regalia on its visit to sick and demonstrate the supposed healing power of the Egyptian Esclaphus, thus Christianized. The Virgin Mother, who was also black, survived in Italy as an Egyptian at Orpha near Bida. The Madonna and her child Christ are not white, but black, as they so often were in Italy. And don't get caught up when you see Russian icons and the lips and the nose all. You think everybody that's descent, lips and everything big? Yes, that's a distinction of Africans in a certain area, but everybody not like that if you're not from the continent of Africa, if you're from Europe. Understand what I'm saying? I ain't saying that the human don't come from the motherland. That ain't what I'm saying. So don't twist my words out of context. Statues of Imhotep in Cairo Museum show his Negroid features. They are reproduced in G. Darcy's catalog, General D's Antiques, Egyptianist, D. Mulcy D. Carver, in this place that he showed the plates. The Negro doctor, Abin Ali, attached to the suite of Charles VII, had the glory of curing Charles Whist. He was still a dolphin. Research this stuff. I want to read this last one. I'm going to go on to the last part. Thanks for the donation. If y'all like the teachings, Cash App, $KG Bay, man. Watch. For the history of the word nigger or Niger and Negrita, from which Negro comes, see Sir William Smith Dictionary of Greek and Roman Geography, Volume 2, page 429, as well as page 296 and 297. Also the Journal Royal Society, African Origin of Niger, or like they like to say, nigger, a Latin word. Also Sir Rufus Donkin, Donkine, the Niger, page 16144, and Gerald Massey, A Book of the Beginnings, Volume 3, page 610, for the origin of Ethiopia. I like to use the holy names, Abyssinia. See Volume 1, page 36 of the latter works. Black and colored, on the other hand, have no historic meanings whatsoever for African peoples. Black, from the Anglo-Saxon, B-L-A-E-C. What this sound like, bleach? Has most horrible meanings. See any large dictionary. So it shows you in first century, just like I'm telling you, when they talk about some Willie Lynch, black wasn't even used to describe ethnicity in first century. Color is related to the Latin C-E-L-A-R-E, celere or claire, to conceal, to color up, to paint a thing other than it is true light. Thus the tendency to decry. Negro on the ground that it means slavery is sheer ignorance. For instance, a Negro newspaper took a poll of its readers some years ago, and they chose color. But the Jim Crow car that greatest degraded of American citizenship is usually marked color. Just like I show y'all how Jesse Jackson and a lot of people agreed to say, call them black, this, and that, and the other, and watching the 7th month, which is July, more. I'm telling you, they know. And a lot of your people know. It's like when I show y'all this. This ain't no KKK. This is not, I told y'all, nothing is original. The Wickham Party, none of them original. They all got initiated from true Moors. And it's just what it is. That back to Africa stuff, I'm not from Africa. I'm a Moorish American. I know where I'm at. I understand all this. I understand all that. I ain't twisting it. A person can get technical. I ain't here for all that. I get it. So I'm gonna read a little bit right in here. And behold the pale horse. Then I'm gonna play a little film for you, because I don't think people know what people be saying. And I tell people, man, if you don't understand the language, just like Noble Drew Ali said, and you got to understand the language, and you must understand law. And if you don't understand it, you got to deal with somebody that'll break it down. And I use the analogy of taking my teeth out my mouth and getting on Similac, AK, or the titty per se, because I'm gonna teach you this. And once you teach it, you can teach others, and you can feed yourself. You don't have to believe me. I'm not here to get you in a belief system. I'm here to build you up as a leader in your home. There's nothing wrong with being guided. But you're a boss in your own words, in your own writing, in your own home, in your own community. And we come together as bosses on a global stage, legally and lawfully. But watch this, y'all. This behold the pale horse. When I say, I hope y'all listen to what he's saying. Like, a lot of people like to diss a lot of people, but I said because they not into it, and the people that be speaking, they know they speaking over your head, and then a lot of people are regurgitate it. I say to use anything and understand anything, it must be applicable. So what's the secret treaty of Verona? And then before you get on that, when I say have Moore's read Tavistock Institution of Human Engineering by John Coleman, all this stuff is old. Watch this. 1916, Congressional Record, Senate. I wish to put the secret treaty of Verona on November 22nd, 1822, showing what this ancient conflict is between the rule of the few and the rule of the many. I wish to call the attention of the Senate to this treaty because it's the threat of this treaty, which was the basis of the Monroe Doctrine. You got to know why the Monroe Doctrine was written, to combat what? Understand this. It throws a powerful white light upon the conflict between monarchical government and government by the people. The Holy Alliance, under the influence of Metternich, the premier of Austria in 1822, used this remarkable secret document. America Diplomat Code, 1778-1884. The undersigned specially authorized to make some additions to the Treaty of the Holy Alliance after having exchanged their respective credentials, have agreed to following. Article 1. The high contracting powers being convicted that the system of representative governments is equally as incompatible with the monarchical principles as the maxim of the sovereignty of the people with the divine right, engaging mutually in the most solemn manner to use all the efforts to put an end to the system of representative governments. I hope y'all understanding this, in whatever country it may exist in Europe, and to prevent its being introduced in those countries where it's not yet known. Article 2, as it can be doubted that the liberty of the press is the most powerful means used by the pretended supporters of the rights of the nations to the detriment of those of princes, the high contracting parties, the promise reciprocally to adopt all proper measures to suppress it, not only in their own states, but also in the rest of Europe. Article 3, convinced that the principles of the religion contribute most powerfully to keep nations in the state of passive obedience, which they owe to their princes. The high contracting parties declare it to be their intention to sustain in their respective states those measures which the clergy may adopt with the aim of ameliorating their own interests, so immediately connected with the preservation of the authority of the princes, and the contracting powers join in offering their thanks to the Pope for what he has already done for them, and solicit his constant cooperation in their views of submitting the nations. Article 4. The situation of Spain and Portugal unite unhappily all the circumstances to which this treaty, as particular reference, the high contracting parties, in confiding to France that the care of putting an end to them, engaging to assist her in the manner which may the least compromit, SIC in parentheses, them with their own people and the people of France by means of a subsidy on the part of the two empires of 20 million of francs every year from the date of the signature of this treaty to the end of the war. Man, when I get into law and consumer law and consumer rights, and when I get into all this stuff, when these Moors, we talk about they some credit repair, and I say you better run for them clouds because you can't repair something that's not broke. And I break this stuff down. I've been doing this on the college campuses forever. People that's coming up out the blue, I said, dude, well, if you talking about all this, you should already have this. You shouldn't be convincing nobody to do this. They using you as a lab rat. Because if they got all this, tell them to open their portfolio and show what they telling you to do, how they operate like that. Because the first thing they ain't telling you, they want to get all this in their name. And I'm going to tell you, you want to control everything and own nothing. You don't want nothing in your name. You don't want no house. I don't give a shit how much you didn't put down on it. I don't care if you ain't put nothing on it. You under some goofy ass interest. I don't care about none of that. If it's in your name, you played yourself. And then you're not talking about land trust. You're not talking about no trust. You talk about getting a house. I said, dude, how is it protected? But that's a whole nother teacher. That's a whole nother teacher. Article 5. In order to establish in the peninsula the order of things which exist before the revolutionary of Cadiz, and to ensure the entire execution of the articles of the present treaty, the high contracting parties give to each other the reciprocal assurance that as long as their views are not fulfilled, rejecting all other ideas of utility or other measures to be taken, they will address themselves with the shortest possible delay to all authority existing in these states and to all their agents in foreign countries, with the view to establish connections tending toward the accomplishment of the objects proposed by this treaty. Article 6. The treaty shall be renewed with such changes as new circumstances may give occasion for, either at a new Congress or at the court of one of the contracting parties, as soon as the war with Spain shall be terminated. Article 7. The present treaty shall be ratified and the ratification exchanged at Paris with the space of 6 months. Mr. Owen, let me see where I want to stop. Let me see. Mr. Owen, I asked to have printed in the congressional record this secret treaty because I think it ought to be called now to the attention of the people of the United States and of the world. This evidence of the conflict between the rule of the few versus popular government should be emphasized on the minds of the people of the United States, that the conflict now waging throughout the world may be more clearly understood. For after all said, the great pending war springs from the weakness and frailty of the government by the few, where human error is far more probable than the error of many, where aggressive war is only permitted upon the authorizing vote of those whose lives are jeopardized in the trenches of modern war. Mr. Schaff, Mr. President, I should like to have the senator state whether in that treaty there was not a coalition formed between the powerful countries of Europe to reestablish the sovereignty of Spain in the republics of South and Central America. See, man, this is, I'm telling you, man. Mr. Owen, I was just going to comment upon that. Am I going to take but a few minutes to do so? Because I realize the pressure of other matters. This holy alliance, having put a Bourbon prince upon the throne of France by force, then used France to suppress the constitution of Spain immediately afterwards. And by this very treaty gave her a subsidy of 200 million francs annually to enable her to wage war upon the people of Spain and prevent their exercise of any measure of the right self-government. The Holy Alliance immediately did the same thing to Italy by sending Austrian troops to Italy, where the people there attempted to exercise a like measure of liberal constitutional self-government. And it was not until the printing press, which the Holy Alliance so stoutly opposed, taught the people of Europe the value of liberty. When I talk about life, liberty, and the pursuit of happiness. So I can go on and on with this, but that's what I want to talk about, man, and get with history. When we talk about the so-called Monroe Doctrine, the threat under the secret Treaty of Verona to suppress popular government in the American republics is the basis of the Monroe Doctrine. The secret treaty sets forth clearly the conflict between monarchical government and popular government and the government of the few as against the government of the many, especially when a lot of these churches and these pastors are under this stuff, some knowingly and some unknowing. It is a part in reality of developing popular sovereignty when we demand for women equal rights to life, to the liberty, even us as misnomer Negroes, to the possession of property, to an equal voice in the making of the laws. When I tell Moors, how can you be in a neighborhood and you don't have no more representing you, and it ain't nothing but a popularity vote, and you want to get on the video and talk all this law stuff? You talking under a shell. This demand on the part of the women is made by men, and it ought to be made by men as well as by thinking, progressive women, as it will promote human liberty and human happiness. I sympathize with it, and I hope that all parties will, in the national conventions, give their approval to this larger measure of liberty to the better half of the human race. So, and then I will play the video, but I've been going for an hour, so I don't want to, I'm done. But I challenge Moors to study, man, and don't get caught up in nobody with no religious perspectives, because Moors that call themselves sheiks and things can be coming from a straight up religious dogmatic perspective. Like I said, when they be gun-ho on a person, and I say Noble Drew Ali never wrote nothing. He said on the book, he gathered and compiled and divinely prepared. So if you gathered and compiled and divinely prepared, this coming from some ancient books, some stuff that we should take dear to heart. And if we gonna even think we understand what was written in a compilation, we got to go to the holy books and be willing to go through them. Well, all of them. You must. That's what understanding all the Gnostic scriptures. That's what it says that we don't adapt to one science where we miss the rest. As an adapt, you got to study all the occult scriptures. Anybody tell you that I'm not reading this because our prophet wrote a book? He didn't write nothing. It's a gathered and compiled of different holy books, Brahmin texts, Unto Thee I Grant, biblical scriptures, a lot of books that's missed out to biblical scriptures, all that stuff. The 18 missing years of Jesus' life. Come on, man. We're not going to deal with that illiterate stuff. We're going to teach education. We're going to teach history on all levels. We're going to connect this science and connect the dots. And we're not going to be acting like this is no religion. More science is not a religion. A more is just your pedigree. This Kemetic science, this masonry, understanding this higher science is the keys. We got to understand that. We got to get out of all this arguing and making ourselves look stupid on videos and everybody just making videos about each other. That's not more science. That's not building. It's okay with supporting things. All these Moors working and Moors act like they not doing this. Well, I don't pay taxes. Man, yes, you did. You willingly gave your social security number, and I show laws, and I'll tell you, when you give stuff willingly, you willingly do these things. So the law say you can give 60% of your taxes income to your charitable religious science organization of your choice. So that's why when I tell Moors, I don't beg, I ask for charitable contributions, and with your donations, I give you value. We got to understand this. A lot of Moors are working and you paying taxes. You giving all your money to Uncle Sam, and you have the right to give at least 60% of your income that you owe taxes, at least. And then Moors say, I ain't paying taxes, I ain't doing this. I'm like, man, I'm not into that. I ain't into all that. I'm just talking about the people that understand what I'm saying. And I can't teach you how to defraud the government. I don't teach that shit. I'm not teaching nobody how to defraud no government. You say all this, then you filing fake ass income taxes. You just said that you don't pay no taxes, and then you filing tax returns. So that's a fraud and a hypocrite. You understand? I do business. And I tell people, man, how you going to build the infrastructure? How you going to build yourself up by your bootstraps if you beg and beg and beg? And that's a slave. A slave beg, they want something. The only people that got paid for reparations is the slave master. I'll show you this historically, and every scholar know I'm telling the truth. I'm not a slave. I just want my human rights. Which when I defend the Constitution, and the Constitution says that. Not knowing your rights, it ain't nobody fought to do because you do things not knowing. And just because you sign something don't mean that's it. I tell you law. Just like when I talk about consumer law, a person that come with that magic stuff and they get shut down in 2 seconds. I'm talking about doing things legally. We don't got to teach nobody to do nothing illegal. You have the right to do things. Or when I teach things legally and lawfully, I say, how are you going to be an L and a Bay and don't know how to operate in the parameters of the law and be electric in real life? And you call yourself a scholar of what? The liquor store? A scholar go in all places of scholarship. Under what? Academia. And can teach from nobody's place. I tell more people, I'm a Moor. That's where it stops at me. I'm not trying to convince nobody or tell nobody this. I'm going to lay it out for you, just like if I was defending you in your best interest. I'll give you the facts. I'll give you the precedent in law cases, the doc number, the Free Information Act to defend you in the best interest. If you want to roll with a belief system or a Bhld, I ain't got nothing to do with that. You understand what I'm saying? And that's what I tell Moors. It ain't no magic. It ain't no secret magic this. Moors got to stop being paper terrorists, thinking a card going to save you, thinking a piece of ID going to save you. None of that's going to save you. You'll get your head bust with all that. I promise you. What's going to save you is understanding the science. What's going to save you is operating under auspices, being a part of a tribe. That's going to save you. Understand the religious laws and the rights of the indigenous people. When you have the right not to assimilate with others, when you have the right to have a tribal leader, when we able to confer degrees and have our tribal ID that don't replace nothing. Well, your tribal ID is your affiliation. It can be used for anything. It's a part of your ID, your tribal affiliation. It's your tribal affiliation. That's why when things happen, your tribal leader can come vouch for you. I'm telling you what I know. We got to get out of all this fraud stuff thinking something's going to make you free. No, we get back in academia, teaching our children real history, because that's what's missing in academia. Kids and the self-confidence is disappeared. We need to teach this self-confidence at an early age so they can see more things instead of just some slavery stuff. When I show figures, when I show historical people in academia, when they see people like myself and others that's educated and that's not just talking crazy out the side of their mouth, like when Moors, we talk about they got some degree in some PhD in Moorish science. You ain't got no degree in the States in no Moorish science. They ain't even teaching that. And when you travel over the world, you have to get a degree either in Islamic studies and Christian education. And like I said, I have 2 degrees and it don't mean nothing. When I tell people it don't make me better than nobody or nothing. But I said, this the thing that I chose to do. Other people choose that I have a business degree. I do business in real life. I said, I'm a human. I tell people what you want your kid to be, what you want your kid to aspire to. You want your kid to aspire somebody on the internet that's arguing, doing stuff in the jungle, talking about that? Or do you want your kid to aspire with other more that can go on all other levels, that can go in all houses and deal with the political stuff and come down and say, this is what's going on in the local community? Because that's where it starts, where we need a voice in the local community to more doing things that can speak on all levels and correct the teachings and can correct the Eurocentric and the Negrocentric propaganda. That can correct it from scholarship. When I tell people, a lot of people be over their pay grade when they just Google stuff. And I said, where's this history? Where's the science? Because a lot of Moors are angry and they're confusing things. I'm an American. What type of American I am? A Moorish American. I'm willing to be in a community. I willingly do things in a community. If you're from your neighborhood that you grew up in, that you grew up all your life, aren't you in a community? Aren't you part of that community? Aren't you willing to be in that community? Oh, so you ain't going to no city council meetings. You ain't going to nothing going on. You don't know what's funding coming down, but you say you a Moor and you the law. That's what I be laughing at these Moors. You don't see no more going to their city council meetings or to the board of education, seeing what's going on, making it known in academia, saying that all this Christopher Columbus, all this Euro slave stuff is fake. And if you a parent, we need some type of change in the teachings because it can happen. That's why I be laughing. The Jews have Jewish school. They call it 7th hour. How I know? Because I teach. I'm telling you what I know. And I teach under my own organization. And I go in schools and teach. Period. So what's the problem? That's what I'll be telling us, man. What's the mission? The mission is the education. The mission is to teach these kids at a early age to be successful, not to retire at no 60 in debt. and to teach the kids to go in debt and get all these things that decrease in value. Oh, I got a house. You don't own a house. You don't own it when you pay nothing. You got to do things the smart way. You want to control everything and own nothing. And if you did those things without knowing, things can be corrected. I tell people this because signing your name don't mean nothing. If you was under duress per se, if you didn't understand, I'm telling you, I know what I'm saying. The European been doing this forever, and Negroes will get to lies and try to get free shit. And I said, you're going to get destroyed with that European stuff coming from Canada. What they used to call itself the paradigm group, trying to show you how not to pay taxes. Man, I teach you, man, I'm like, dude, y'all have no idea, but go ahead and do what you want to do. So I love everybody, man. Any questions? Thanks for the donation, Moors. If you want your Moorish American fez, turbans, MoorishHaberdasher.com. If you're looking for books and things, mypdfbooks.com. And I promise you, Moors, every time I lecture, if you give $10 or $20, I'm going to give you literature that's worth way more than $10 or $20. I guarantee you. Just leave your email when you donate on Cash App. I'm a PDF you literature. I do that. So I'll leave it open for any questions. If anybody come with some crazy stuff, I'm blocking you because I don't have time for the grown people playing trolls. I'm going to block you for life. And then I'm going to have my IT guy look you up, and the Big Brother camera, which is Google Maps, going to be right on your porch. And I'm going to tell you, stay with your grandma. And it's going to be real time. So don't come at me with no trash. If you got any real questions, I don't want to ask you no question about nobody's sheep or about what nobody else doing. I don't care. I don't care about nobody else doing. Talk about what we doing. If nobody ain't want to build and grow with what we doing, please don't ask me about what nobody else doing. That ain't even in my sector. I'm like a horse with blinders on when it comes to that shit. Any questions, man? Any question? Like I said, I'll leave it open for a second. But our temple and school page, burningbushtabernacle.ts. We on YouTube. My name, Kari Ivan Hakeem Goodman Bey. And at the end of February, we're going to be done teaching on YouTube once again. And we're just going back privately on Zoom, which is all right. Our temple and school page will be up and running. We'll just be doing little snippets. But I challenge everybody to join us privately on Zoom. And it's nothing wrong with giving a donation. If I'm feeding you, you pay for food that don't even feed you. And I'm not charging you. I'm asking for a donation. I give literature. And if you don't like it, I get it. I get it. It's your choice. But please don't come here continuously and won't give a donation and feel there's something wrong with a person asking for a donation. And then if I ask more, if you came to my physical temple, if you was in Arizona, if you came to my temple, if you came to Michigan, would you give a donation for the teachings? Everybody say, yeah. And I say, well, then. Treat it the same way. I don't see nothing wrong with that. So any questions, man? You have to go on my temple and school page. It's burningbushtabernacle.ts. We teach Sunday school every Sunday at 2 p.m. AZ time zone, privately on Zoom. But I do have snippets. We do a little snippets on my Instagram temple and school page. It's burningbushtabernacle.ts on Instagram. And like I said, at the end of February, everything I'm going to be doing is going to be privately on Zoom. So if you give a small donation, you'll be able to get the Zoom login and join us for small donations each week and get a plethora of literature. You look up in a couple months or a year, if you come to class, your library will be so full. And I teach systematically. I have civics classes. I teach you how to build up your business and operate as a business, not personally, and have everything that you do is a business. Operating on its own 2 feet as its own entity. You know, I don't teach nobody how to be no criminal, and people try to teach you how to drive without license and squatting houses and all that. That ain't my mission. And talking about this your land and want all that ain't my mission. That's their mission. If it worked for those people, fine. I ain't with it. I don't want no parts of that shit. I ain't with no part of nobody arguing with nobody talking about this, they land, all that shit. I don't want no parts of that. I do my thing and I build. We own land and we provide for ourselves, like I said. And so that's what this is about. And if Moors want to learn, you can't come to school and learn. If you're not here to learn, I don't have nothing for you. I can't nationalize you. All that's fugazi. Nobody can nationalize you or denationalize you. All that's fraud. 1010 number ain't no trust fund at the end of the rainbow. The AA2 number, really, that ain't. You can look the damn Zodiac laws in the Library of Congress, and then people be fraudulent stuff, putting a stamp on it, talk about somebody, the preface is by them, and I said you can't do that. That's copyrighted. That's fraud. That's passing on something. That's trying to trick people. You can't take nothing that's already registered somewhere and then put a stamp on it and say narrate the preface by somebody. You can't do that. Not around me, and then try to pass. I don't care how old or young you are. I'm gonna call it what it is. That ain't right. You trying to pass something that and don't give credit to that? No, we can't do that. What we got to do is gather, compile our own. We can't take something and put a stamp on it. We're not here to play no trickery. That's why I told you, every time somebody did something, it always come back to bite them. Like, watch this. You have all these people, that's these religious people, they diss education. And then they make videos like they got some fake ass degree. You know? Look at that. Look at how far your own brother will go to trick you. Look how far these people go to trick you. I ain't got to say names. We got to look at. They say they got some doctorate degree in some Christian studies. You can't even find it. It's a damn fake diploma mill. Then they got to go back and apologize. You ain't got to apologize. That's premeditated. You premeditated to come up with a lie to your people. To like you inferior. Like I said, do y'all see this? If you're knowledgeable, if you homeschool and you study, we get that. But what's the whole purpose of faking like you got some doctoral degree? See, in Christian, that's the problem we have. We deal with fraud. Then a real person come along with with the science and with the education that really teach. Then they get scared. Why would you come with some fake stuff? And then when they talk about business, they don't got no history. They don't got no history in business. And I ain't say this mean nothing, but it lets you know I know a base. They ain't gonna come with no business or no true. Tell them to open their portfolio. It's all smoke and mirrors. Who cares if you ridden an $800 car? Who cares? Who cares? Who cares? You see, that ain't my mission. And that's what I be telling, and that's what I be trying to show Moors. Listen, man, I can teach you about law. I can teach you about everything. I can teach you about consumer law, traffic law. And once you understand this, you should understand what you shouldn't be doing. We understand gray areas and all this. I understand all that. I teach law, what law, all law, and I operate under the law. But I teach you things where people don't understand restrictions and they get you caught up. And they get you caught up under what? Fraudulent concealment. Fraudulent concealment. And you can't claim brainwash in the court because what? There's no excuse of not knowing the law in a court of law. What has happened is you've been fraudulently concealed. And what somebody did is premeditated on your ignorance. Because if they know you was connected to something, you'll be able to come back and ask the question, and I'll be able to give you the right precedent in law cases, the doc number, to correct not only yourself, but you will understand their angle. What God man gonna always be in court? Come on, Moors, we gotta get smarter than this. We gotta get smarter than this, man. Nobody can do nothing for you. Can't nobody get no free document from the Library of Congress and say, yeah, I got y'all packages ready. What? What are you talking about? Like literally, man, like who are you playing with? Moors need to wake up, man. That's why our prophet said, don't give away your last name for a morsel. That's why when we talk about tribe, how things setting up, fraternity, seeing things legal and lawfully, why things can people understand language and words that's synonymous, understand what a so-called church, a principality, a school, a district, understand how the temporal set up, understand how the Burning Bush Tabernacle Science Temple and School is set up in a particular fashion. And we don't understand this. And when a lot of misnomer Negroes and Moors don't understand something, the first thing they do is diss it instead of educating themselves on a particular subject. So you can be what? Enlightened, or have that what? Aha moment, that moment of understanding. That's when the Holy Spirit fills your cup and your cup runneth over. Of what? Understanding, not a belief system, not operate under no criminality. We operate under the parameters of what? The law, because we are the law. Understand this. And when you defend the Constitution, you operate in 720. You ain't operating doing nothing illegal, because these people will not show you the outcome. Understand what I'm saying? You're not paying this and all that to do what? Okay, you stay somewhere for free for a year. You squat in the house for a year or somewhere for 2 years. Okay, now you ain't staying anymore. All that fun that you say you didn't say spend, what you doing with it? Where's the infrastructure? See, a lot of people's mission is not my mission. I'm in here to re-educate our children. I'm in here to build families. I'm in here to bring us back, to resurrect us something, back to what we were. A resurrection means you're going back to something, not creating something new. And just when we say resurrected, what do we think resurrected means? Resurrected is we bringing ourselves back to something, or we bringing something back to something, or we bringing the education system back to something. We bringing something back to something. Why? Because they know who you are before you coming. Everybody know I'm in a red state. They know who I am before I'm coming, because I've seen them all. I've done business with them all. They bought suits for me. They were professors, just like the Klan back in the day. Why they covered their face? Because they were the regular workers in the city. Same way with these professors and things out here. They the same people. They the course. They in the course and things. And I come as a moral all the time. Understanding the law. Understand how to operate as a business. Understanding all law, understanding all traffic law, understanding restrictions in all local jurisdiction, understanding it might work here in Texas, or understand these tax codes and this here in Texas, but it ain't the same here. That's why certain states have different tax codes or different bylaws. So you got to know this, and you got to be very versed. Like Khalid Muhammad said, I shoot from the lip, not the hip. Come on, man, we got to understand this. And we can't be afraid of our brothers that's Moors, that's scholars and educators and real leaders in life, not no damn activists. I tell people, I done been in the fire. I'm from Flint, Michigan. I done seen my brother, Allah blessed his spirit. And I know when the flesh is gone, it goes back to Allah. But everything that I seen, it was on our own people. So can't nobody tell me this and that, because no European, ain't no such thing as no supremacy over me. Not when I operate as a God, or not when I operate as a master able noble or generator operator destroyer. That's why I tell people a prophet is no good in his own country. If you're a prophet, you'll be able to leave anywhere else and be a Buddha, Messiah, a Magi, a Tasawwuf, all those names that signify your station, no matter where you go. Especially amongst those that don't look like you. They're gonna know who you are off the dribble. And if you come to my area, my domicile where I'm at, you will see it. Because most people out here don't look like me. And the people that have freak women that came out here, they know. Most people know. They know. Their children know me. They know. They know me as a noble. They know me as an educator. They know me as a Moor. So with that being said, man, I want to thank y'all for your time. Thank y'all for the donations that Moors took it out the kind of their heart. If you didn't, I understand. Maybe next time it'll be on your heart. And maybe I'll give some more history that been buried in a shallow grave in the North Gate. And we getting all this pseudo academia. But those that understand that you getting science, a workman is due his hire. So I love y'all, man. Peace, light, and illumination. I got some real history tomorrow. I'm gonna play the film tomorrow of what I'm talking about. I'll play a little bit of film, then I'll go to the next teaching. But like I said, any more questions? If there's no more questions, we out of here. Excuse me, I'm burping. Any questions? Like I said, Morris, if any more want to, like somebody asked me, I'll leave with this. Is that a cap fez? No, I don't wear cap fez. I tie my turbans. So if anybody want to learn how to tie their turban, my turbans, this turban I got on is 5 feet. I'll show y'all. This turban is 5 feet. And see, I don't want to take it all the way down, but you know what I mean? I can show you how to wrap your turban all different type of ways. You know what I mean? I can show you how to do it any type of way you want. You can fold it. It's just different ways you can do your turban. But I did mine a certain way because I like how it rivets up when I get it right. But I have to be in my mirror. I don't like doing it like this. But I'll just show y'all a preview. I didn't want to unwrap it all the way. A lot of times, we upper it like so. And so I can have it. When I say we used to do working like this. Like that's why I don't understand more. Like you got your ammunition, know how to wrap your turban. You got it on your head. I don't see the problem. You see what I'm saying? You could do every turban like this. We wrap our turbans. You know, like that. You can do it like that. You know what I'm saying? And when you untuck it, you can have it hanging like such if you want. But you get to learn it because this is a science. This is a form of meditation as well, where you learn how to wrap your turban. It's going to come out different ways. But as you get to doing the base, you'll get to understand how to wrap. I'll show you how to do twice, or I'll show you how to take one piece wrap, then take the other piece and wrap. Sometimes when you know how to do it, I'll take it like a bun in the back, one side, boom, again, boom. Then you tuck and you get that type of circumference. And I'll do a class on it one day if anybody interested. Because I tell Morris, we don't wear the catfish. You might start, but you got to learn how to wrap your turban. And then when you learn how to wrap your turban, you can wrap your turban around your fez. And I'll show you how to do it. Any questions, man? Like I said, any questions? We out of here. Any more questions? Like I said, thanks for the donation, everyone. But if anyone want to learn how to wrap their turban, I will show you a class. And like I said, Morris, if you're really serious, you really want a turban, hit me up. I'll get you a turban. I'll show you how to wrap your turban. I'll take time with you every day before our class. I'll wrap the turban. Show you how to do it. The base, I'm telling you, it's all about your base, Morris. Once you got a good base, you good. You see that? Look at that. Look how all that. That's all. See how long this is all the way around? See that? Look how long all this is. This all material. And so it's just a plethora of ways that you can do things. My homie like, would you show me real fast? I said, yeah, I'll do a little bit if I can. And I'll show you how I do my she-mags as well. The she-mags is different because they might be a little shorter than the turban. But let me see. Let me get my base right real fast. Let me get my base right. Okay. So sometimes let me stand up because it's super long. I just want to twist it in the back. So now I got two. So you see what I did? How I twisted it in the back to where one going the other. You know what I mean? So I got it and just flew one over here to get me like this. And I'm doing it fast because I got to go eat. I'm hungry. I'm working hard, man. I got to go eat. My family like, time to come eat, Sheik. All right, here I come. So you can do that like that. And say you want to bring that one here. You can take that. You can go like so if you want. Boom, see I got that there. You can go like this again. And I'm just doing something real fast, man. I just want to show y'all and see how you can rock it like that if you want. It just depends on your style, but I'm going to keep going because I'm going to tuck it. Boom. And it's just one way. I'll show you so many different ways, man. I love doing this. But of course, I'll fold it, you know what I mean? Because I like it to be a little neater. But I'm just showing you a little quick one. And bam, see that? Real quick, boom, boom, boom. Real nice, thick wrap turban. You know what I mean? Put your jewel on if you got, like I said, I got a lot of these Moorish heads. This ain't no slave. You only see certain people wear it. I got them. I invest in what I love. That's why I provided my PDF books for Moorish can get expensive books, download them, support Moorish business. MorrisHaberdasher.com. You can get all your Moorish American regalia and much, much more. See that, Moorish? Boom. That didn't even take long to wrap the turban. And you can get it even longer. This was only 4 feet. So say if you get like 6 feet, excuse me, 6 yards. I'm sorry. Say if you get 6 yards, you'll wrap it longer. And then when I wrap it like that, I'll tie one piece on the door because it'd be so long. And then I'll take that one and boom, 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 boom. Then I take that one and boom, wow, 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 wow. But it'd be fun, man, rapping your turban. It'd be fun. I can rap it all different type of ways. But yeah, man. Any other questions, man? Any other questions? Once again, I thank everybody. Like I said, I always have to give thanks for everybody giving a donation because you don't have to give. I give gratitude for every, no matter if you gave $1, 50 cents, a quarter. If you give something, I'm going to give you something in return. Why? Because I can do that. Because I want you to have literature. I don't care if you only gave $5. You put your email in there. I will PDF you one of my books that I gathered and divinely prepared. I would PDF you. I'll tell you this: $20. I'll PDF you 4 books. I'll PDF you a couple of my books and a history book. But if you want to know a little bit of more science, I'll PDF you my Divine Creed of Moors Islam. If you want to know something about the fez that we wear, I'll PDF you my book, The Exoscience of the Moorish Fez. So with that being said, Moors, I love y'all. Peace, 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 peace. And I do my Moorish American prayer and I'm out. Allah, the Father of the universe, Father of love, truth, peace, freedom, and justice. Allah is my guide, my protector, and my salvation, by night and by day, through his holy prophet, Noble Drew Ali, Shalom Alakim, Ayah Asha'ayah, peace, 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 Salam Alaikum. Anything that you give it praise, you want to give that inner self the glory, so be it. That's 99 beautiful names of Allah. Alhamdulillah and Allah Akbar. Peace.